Welcome back to Tech Roundup. I'm Alex. Big regulatory fireworks from Europe to kick us off. Italy's antitrust authority has slapped Apple with a €98.6 million fine, saying the company's app tracking transparency rules abuse its App Store dominance.
I'm Priya. Short version, Italy says Apple's pairing of ATT prompts with GDPR-style permissions creates a double consent burden that hurts developers and advertisers, and that Apple could have protected privacy with less restrictive measures. Apple says it's protecting user privacy and will appeal.
That's a hefty fine. How did the regulator reach that conclusion without denying Apple's right to protect privacy?
The AGCM isn't disputing privacy as a goal. Their argument is narrower. Apple imposed extra rules on third-party apps that effectively put developers through 2 layers of permission request, GDPR consent plus ATT, and that extra friction can distort competition. They also noted Apple's own apps don't show ATT prompt because Apple doesn't track across apps, which, the regulator argues, creates an uneven playing field.
So this is less about privacy versus no privacy and more about whether Apple's method is anti-competitive.
Exactly. It's the tension regulators keep bumping into in Europe, privacy safeguards that are implemented in a way that may advantage the platform owner. If a platform can set rules that disproportionately raise costs for rivals or partners, antitrust authorities will take notice.
Apple said it will appeal. What could this mean for app developers and advertisers in Europe if the ruling stands?
If it holds, Apple might have to change how ATT is presented or how permissions interact with GDPR prompts. That could reduce the friction for developers seeking consent for targeted advertising and could open the door to different implementations across markets. But Apple could also win on appeal. These cases often take years and can shape how privacy and competition law coexist.
All right, moving on before the lawyers take over our podcast. Next up, foldables, Samsung's wide fold, and Apple testing flexible glass. Priya, foldables are back in the headlines. Samsung's reportedly prepping a wide fold to preempt Apple's rumored 2026 foldable, and Apple is testing new ultra-thin flexible glass. Should we be excited or exhausted?
Bit of both. Foldables have matured, better hinges, water resistance, even S-Pen support, but price and visible creases remain headwinds. Samsung's wide fold is meant to mirror the rumored book-style dimensions of Apple's iPhone Fold, with a roughly 7.6-inch inner screen and a wider 4:3-like aspect ratio.
And Apple testing uneven thickness flexible glass? What's the tech angle there?
Apple is experimenting with a next-gen ultra-thin flexible glass that varies thickness, thinner at the hinge to bend more, thicker elsewhere for rigidity. The goal is to distribute bending stress and make the crease visually imperceptible. If they pull it off, it could be a big UX win. But Apple also reportedly keeps ultra-thin glass as a fallback in case the new material doesn't meet reliability targets.
So Samsung is sharpening its blade ahead of Apple's arrival, while Apple is trying to fix the one thing critics still point to, the crease.
Right. Expect incremental competition. Samsung and others refine industrial design and software. Apple tries to deliver a near-seamless experience. The big barrier remains price. Until costs come down, foldables will be niche premium devices.
Okay, from foldable screens to robotaxis, London is about to get more autonomous players.
Yes, Uber and Lyft are partnering with Baidu to trial Baidu's Robotaxi tech in London in 2026. That puts Baidu alongside Waymo in a rapidly heating market for driverless services in the UK capital.
Walk me through the practicalities. These will be fully driverless from day one?
The reports say trials will use fully driverless, all-electric robotaxis operated by Baidu, but run under local regulatory oversight. Trials usually start conservatively, limited routes, defined geofenced areas, monitoring systems, and then scale if regulators and safety data allow. It's a major international deployment for a Chinese autonomous stack via U.S. ride-hailing platforms.
Competition's ramping up. Does London have what it takes for safe robotaxi ops?
London is complex, dense traffic, pedestrians, cyclists, narrow streets, but it also has mature transport regulation and demand for ride services. The success will hinge on extensive testing, clear rules, and public trust. Waymo supervised tests are already in place, so regulators have a baseline to compare against.
Last story for today. Instacart pulled the plug on AI-driven price tests.
Correct. Instacart ended a program that ran randomized A/B price experiments, some using Eversight tech, after studies showed shoppers sometimes paid different prices for identical items from the same store. There was consumer backlash and an FTC inquiry, so Instacart stopped those item price tests and says now 2 shoppers buying the same items at the same time from the same location will see the same prices.
Isn't A/B testing standard in retail? Why the fuss?
It's common, but the issue was transparency and fairness. Customers perceived, correctly in the study's findings, that the algorithm could impose different prices arbitrarily. When essential goods and grocery bills are at stake, regulators and the public are less tolerant. Instacart emphasized prices are set by retailers, but the optics and the study forced their hand.
Tech pros, policymakers, and consumers all learning how algorithmic tools interact with trust. That's our show for today. Priya, final quick take?
Regulation and tech keep chasing each other. Privacy rules can become competition issues. Hardware innovation sparks preemptive moves. Autonomous systems need public trust, and AI experiments must be handled with care. Same story, new headlines.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with more. Stay curious and skeptical, and maybe keep your groceries on Price Watch.
One final note from space. Japan's H3 rocket failed to place the Michibiki No-5 navigation satellite into orbit after a second-stage engine anomaly. Not the holiday liftoff Japan hoped for.
The H3 lifted off, but the second stage burn apparently didn't start or stopped prematurely, so the satellite wasn't deployed. This follows earlier troubles for the H3 program, including a significant failure back in 2023. JAXA will investigate, and this failure complicates Japan's medium-lift launcher rollout.
Failures suck, but they're part of rocket development. Any immediate consequences?
They'll pause to analyze telemetry, review manufacturing and quality control, and adjust timelines for follow-up missions. Michibiki satellites are important for geolocation services, so Japan may need contingency plans for navigation coverage. Public trust and international customer confidence can take a hit, but transparent investigations help.
Tech can be brutal. Priya, closing thought on today's batch?
Whether it's privacy law, foldable glass, robotaxis, AI pricing, or rockets, the common thread is complex systems meeting complex rules. Outcomes will shape design, business models, and policy for years, and probably spawn more headlines.
All right, that's it. Thanks for joining us on Tech Roundup. We'll see you next time. The preceding audio summary was created at jesterengine.com, where you can find and verify the original sources.